everyone, and welcome back to a new episode of Meet the Bishop. Today we have with us His Grace Bishop Youssef, Bishop of the Diocese of the Southern United States and Abbot of St. Mary and St. Moses Monastery in Texas. We're happy to have you with us today, Sayyidina. Welcome.
Thank you, Samuel.
And I just had a couple questions to ask Your Grace. What church were you born and raised in, Sayyidina?
I grew up in St. Anthony Church in Shobra, Cairo.
And what do you have any services there once you grew up, Sayyidina?
Yes, actually I served as a deacon and then as a coordinator for the deacons. Also I served as Sunday school servant. I actually served all the ages from the children until middle school, high school, college, youth. And then I became coordinator of the primary school kids, and then coordinator for the middle school.
With all the different ages, Sayyidina, did you have a preference of which age group you were able to connect with more?
Each group has its blessings, and actually I enjoyed serving with each group, and I learned more with each group. I learned, the children, the simplicity, the innocence, the purity. With the youth, I learned the challenges, the debate, how to convince them, how to try to persuade them. So with each group, there was actually a special benefit for me personally.
Sayyidina, after you finished your service in St. Anthony Church, what made you start to think about monasticism?
Monasticism actually started with me when I was in high school. I visited the monasteries at Wadi al-Natron as a trip with the church, and I felt peace during this trip. I felt the simplicity of the life, but also the richness of the spirituality. I remember very well when I saw the monks with their smile. This reflect deep joy and deep peace, although they were living in the desert and actually they have nothing. This made me long more and more to visit the monasteries more frequently and spend more time there. So each vacation I started to go to the monastery, and this feeling that this is my home started to grow within me. Even when I was studying, I never imagined myself that I will continue my life in the world. I felt my home is the monastery.
Which monastery did Your Grace find most comfortable?
Actually, I visited mainly the monasteries of Wadi al-Natron. I used to spend time in San Bishop Monastery, El Baramos Monastery, and Syrian Monastery. But at the end, the last 4 years of my college, I used to go mainly to the Syrian.
And that's where you decided to become a monk?
Yes.
Sayyidina, when you decided to go to the monastery and become a monk, did your family oppose you at all?
Of course, yes. They opposed me because, I'm the only son. I have 4 sisters, and this was difficult for them to accept it at the beginning. But later on, actually, God intervened in a miraculous way, and they blessed this step.
Sayyidina, when you were in charge of the tasbaha, the church aspect of the monastery, what made you love the tasbaha and teach it to us? Me personally, I learned to love the tasbaha from doing it with Your Grace. How did you learn to love it and learn it also much?
My love to the tasbih midnight praises or praises in general did not start when I joined the monastery. Actually, the first time I learned Tasbih, I was in 6th grade, and I learned the fourth hose and the psali and the Theotokia of Saturday, which is the Vespers praises. My Sunday school teacher, who is now actually a bishop, his Grace Bishop Daniel of Al Maadi, actually taught us the Vesper praises, and he encouraged us to attend and participate in it. And since then, actually, my love to the Tasbihah and to the hymns start to grow and grow. And I felt a lot of comfort, consolation, joy in praising the Lord.
Sayyidina, when you were how long were you a brother before you were ordained a monk?
1 year and 4 months.
And then you got ordained a priest after you became a monk. How long was there between the monkhood and the priesthood?
1 year.
Exactly
1 year and 1 year and 3 months.
And then after that, Sayyidina, did you come straight to America, or you went to Texas first, or you went to other places throughout?
No, actually, my service started in Texas, in Dallas.
In Texas. How long was that after you became a priest?
1 year, actually. 1 year.
Do you remember, Sayyidina, what year exactly you came to Texas?
Yeah, 1989.
And when you came, Sayyidina, were there a lot of churches in Texas or in America as a whole?
I remember His Holiness Pope Shenouda visited America in August 1989, and he made like a seminar for all the clergy in North America. He made 2 meetings, one in Toronto in the beginning of his visit, and one in Los Angeles at the end of his visit. And I remember that all the priests in North America, including Canada, were about 30 something or 40, nothing more. Actually, I have a picture for this meeting, with His Holiness. In Texas, there were only 3 churches, one in Houston, one in San Antonio, and one in Dallas.
And how many churches are there now in your diocese, Sayyidina?
We have communities and we have churches. All we have 53 churches and communities.
53. And is there a priest for each church, or?
For each church, yes, and some churches has more than one priest, but the communities, no. The communities, they don't have.
How many priests do you have, Sayyidina, in the diocese?
Now, through the grace of God, we have 35 priests.
35. God bless Sayyidina. And when you came in the beginning, were there anywhere near that, around, like in the southern United States area?
When I came as a bishop, we were 9 priests.
Just 9. Sayyidina, when you look to ordain priests, what do you look for in the man when you look for them to ordain them?
Mainly, actually, I pray and ask God to guide me, because this is a calling from God. As St. Paul said in his letter to Hebrews, nobody takes this honor except he who is called from God as Aaron. So I pray and ask God to guide me to the right person. Then I look at certain points. One of the most important points I look at his ability to communicate and deal with the people, because the priest all the time deals with people, and he has to have the ability to communicate well and deal with different people, with the difficult people, with the easygoing people, with children, with youth, with elders. Now, this is a very, very needed gift in the priest. Also, I look for his zeal and his commitment to serve. As His Holiness Pope Shenouda teaches us that if we rest, the people will suffer. But if we labor, the people will rest. So I don't like priests who doing their service with the idea of minimum requirement. I like the priests who have creativity. They initiate a lot of services, and they are willing to spend time and the labor and toil for the progress of service. Definitely not on the expense of their own families, because St. Paul told us that when the priest is successful in his own family, this is actually a sign that he can manage the church of God well. But if he doesn't know how to manage his own family, then how he could manage the church of God?
When you first heard that you were going to be ordained a bishop, what were your first feelings?
I had the feeling like King Solomon when he became a king.
Is there any funny stories or anything that happened with your grace here that you'd like to share with us?
Give me any visa, and after the visit of His Holiness, I will apply for the green card.